as the Philippine Agriculture Department forges international ties for a more climate-friendly initiatives, at least one PSE-listed company is also aspiring to achieve sustainability. Agrinurture has secured a medium green certification from Cicero Shades of Green, an international research agency that provides an independent environmental assessment of green and sustainability bond frameworks. This has allowed Agrinurture to launch a €75 million sustainability fund on the international capital markets. The company plans to use the proceeds from its bond issuance for its agricultural project expansion, which is geared towards climate change adaptation. Agrinurture also revealed it has received the ASEAN Green Bond rating from the Securities and Exchange Commission. We now have with us Antonio Tew. He's the chairman and the CEO of Agrinurture. Agrinurture has embarked on a fundraising drive via green bonds. Can you talk more about these environmentally sustainable food production techniques or the use of the proceeds?
Well, the green bond is one of the easier route for us to raise low-cost capital to fund our long-term capex. Because of the pandemic, we're trying to preserve our cash flow for operating requirements. So we will need to secure long-term funding to fund the long-term capex. And most of our project in the pipeline, after a thorough review by Cicero Shades of Green, we were actually given the medium green rating, which is the highest ever been given to agricultural companies, because our projects are either it's sustainable because it creates a lot of livelihood opportunities. A lot of these projects are very environmental friendly, like the plant-based products, the new logistic hub that we're trying to create, which will cut down food wastage. We're trying to also use the technology of our other affiliate green energy, such as the solar products, to reduce the cost of electricity. And at the same time, we have been actively engaging the marginalized sectors, such as the indigenous people, empowering them to grow organic products for us, empowering them to get into sustainable farming. So these are things that we believe we can make a big difference in the future of our society.
Is adopting these environmentally sustainable techniques actually, profitable or competitive in the short term, or is this more of a long-term investment that will take time before you actually reap the benefits?
Well, it depends on which project. Some project you have to look at 3 to 5 years perspective, but there are low-hanging fruits in terms of the sustainable project and the green project. Like, for example, Philippines is one of the countries in Asia that has the highest electricity costs. So if we invest on solar panels, for example, even without government subsidy, we can recover our investment in less than 5 years. What we want to do is to create a business enterprise that will last for a century. What we want to do is to do projects that our future generations will be proud of us. We cannot just focus on reaping short-term benefit and harming the environment, for example. That's not something that Agrinurture is willing to compensate.
Agrinurture is just among a few publicly listed companies engaged in agriculture in the PSE. Why aren't there more companies that are in agriculture that are listing in the PSE? What are your thoughts about this?
Well, it's an overall perception among Filipinos that agriculture is hard work, long-term, and it's low income or small reward. So it's a risk-reward factor that prevented a lot of entrepreneurs from jumping into this sector that was most neglected in the last century. Ani has been working to realized the farm to plate model since 1997, and in the past 2 decades of efforts, we're trying to learn the ropes, trying to make agri sexy, so we can encourage and inspire the next generation to join the bandwagon. Generally, I would say it's been a wrong perception, a lot of wrong perception about agri. If you can recall the folk songs that we are taught since our childhood, planting rice is never fun.
So where are the opportunities?
Well, the opportunity is embracing innovation. There's a lot of disruptors that can make a slipping industry becoming more attractive and enticing. So one of these is technology. One of these is the e-commerce space. I recall when we were starting to export our fruits to China 20 years ago, it's 99% through the wholesale market. But lately, it's probably close to 90% online. So that's how big technology has changed the agricultural perspective.
So when you say that 90% is online, does it mean that 90% you attract through online channels?
It's a change in the purchasing habits, let's say, from the mainland Chinese. Right now, the younger generation, they procure everything. Even our mangoes, banana, and pineapple, they buy through the big retail e-commerce channels.
Speaking of yung online, no, because you recently came up with Ani Express or your online platform, I'm just wondering how that business is doing. Is there strong demand?
We were conceptualizing something like that 2 years ago. So we started building it, but because of the pandemic, we suddenly have to push the green button and activate it. Surprisingly, it's slowly gaining momentum because we have a lot of interesting products on our online website, right? On our online app, the plant-based products, the big chilled ready to drink beverages. So these are slowly gaining popularity.
You also recently launched your like plant-based products, no? Fit Bites, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes.
How is demand coming along for those products?
Filipinos are generally still meat lovers, but our main market is really the export market. So Agrinurture has been supplying to a lot of global chains. So the product is really intended to for pilot tests in the Philippines, but it's aimed at the global market.
And have you already launched it in the global market or not yet?
We are scheduled to launch this in the US mainland very soon.
And what are your plans, like eventually? Because I know that you're mainly focused in China, for example, and Hong Kong. Say it becomes popular in the US, will you be exporting it to China and Hong Kong as well?
China and Hong Kong, we may not be too competitive. They have a strong domestic suppliers of plant-based product. In the US, we actually have been selling a lot of our coconut products in the big US retail chains, and it's very easy for us to bring it in there. So we're quite competitive in terms of the taste profile and in terms of the pricing.
Can you talk more about Agri Token this time? So what is the rationale for, buying the fintech and launching this product?
We have to understand why the banks does not want to lend to farmers, because generally when you're poor, every day you have emergency. So if you release the loan, it will be used for something else. And come harvest time, there's nothing to harvest. So Agri Token is more like it's an asset-backed cryptocurrency within our closed loop ecosystem, where we're trying to prevent the temptations from destroying the future income of the farmers. So every token that we release to the farmer, it's backed with a cash from the investors. The token can now be spent to buy inputs, and the online accredited merchant will now convert the token to fiat currency. Then come harvest time, the loan is settled, the income is credited to the respective e-wallet of the farmers. The farmers can withdraw from any ATM nationwide.
So they can't just use the money that they get from the agri token to buy anything they want.
Definitely, they cannot use it for sabong. They cannot use it to buy alcohol. They have to use it to buy essentials, meaning seedlings, fertilizers, chemicals, packaging materials, services, and maybe food and some basic necessities.
What's your outlook for the Philippine agriculture sector? Are you bullish in general, or are you selectively bullish on certain segments or crops?
I think during the pandemic, what more can you ask for? Food and agriculture is probably the most essential thing that you can count on. During lockdown, every time when there's a lockdown, our sales will just surge by 100% to 200% because there's no other major spending except food.
What about for the export market? Is the outlook still very rosy for us?
Export market for agricultural products will definitely enjoy growth as long as there's no logistic impairment such as lockdowns. So during the early part of the pandemic in China, we probably suffered for 2 to 3 months because there are demands coming in, but we just have no way to ship it out.
But I'm guessing right now the demand is strong, especially with the ongoing global economic recovery.
Yes, food and agriculture is the safest investment during pandemic.
So with that, thank you very much and good luck to Agrinurture.
Thank you, April.